Hello and welcome to part B of the primer treatment tutorial looking at grit removal. So we're going to be answering question 3, which is dimension a grit removal unit for a wastewater treatment plant receiving a dry weather flow of 24,000 cubic meters per day. We're making the assumption that the flow doubles during rain. Question A is, how many channels would you design? So, we need to take into account that we will need at least 2 channels for operation and maintenance. And since it is assumed that the flow doubles during rain, we can assume that we would need 4 channels. So for the total flow, the total rain flow, we then need 4 channels. So that's part A. Now, if we're looking at part B, we're actually dimensioning it. So first of all, we got to have a design flow, which is the rainwater flow. So the flow is 48,000 cubic meters per day. And that's double the dry weather flow, because the dry weather flow is 24,000 cubic meters per day. That means that the design flow for each channel is going to be the design flow divided by the number of channels, which in this case is 4. And so the design flow per channel is going to be 12,500 cubic meters per day. To get that into units that we're requiring further on, we're going to divide it by 68,400, as that is the number of seconds in one day. Then we get the value of 0.144 cubic meters per second. Now we're going to just write down a few of these assumptions that we are taking in order to make this design. First of all, we're going to assume that the horizontal flow velocity is 0.2 meters per second. Then we're going to assume that the settling velocity of the smallest grit particle that we completely need to remove is 0.012 meters per second. That settling velocity is derived from Stokes' law based on the particle size. Then we're going to assume a theoretical depth of 0.7 meters. We know that the length to width ratio, the range that is acceptable for grit removal of a rectangular profile, is 10 to 15. So first of all, we need to work out what the detention time in the grit removal chamber will be. We're going to represent the detention time by tau, and that is the depth divided by the settling velocity of the smallest grit particle that we need to completely remove. So that is 0.7 meters divided by 0.012 meters per second, which equals 60 seconds. So approximately 1 minute retention time. The second step is looking at the theoretical channel length. That's going to be the horizontal flow velocity times the detention time. So that is 0.2 meters per second times 60 seconds, which gives us a theoretical length of 12 meters for a channel. The third step is then looking at the channel volume. And we can find this by multiplying our total flow for the channel by the detention time. So that's going to be 0.144 cubic meters per second times 60 seconds, which gives us a total channel volume of 8.64 cubic meters. Step 4 is then looking at the cross-sectional area. So that's going to be the total volume of the channel divided by the length. So we've got 8.64 cubic meters divided by 12 meters, which gives us a cross-sectional area of 0.72 square meters. From this, we can then find what the width is. So that's going to be the cross-sectional area divided by the theoretical depth, which is 0.72 square meters divided by 0.7 meters, which can be approximated to 1 meter. And then this means that our length to width ratio is actually in range. So our length to width ratio is between 10 and 15, and thus it is in the right range. It was given in the question that we should provide a freeboard of 0.3 meter and a grid accumulation zone depth of 0.25 meter. The total depth is thus the theoretical depth of 0.7 meter plus the freeboard of 0.3 meter plus the grid accumulation zone of 0.25 meter, which gives a total depth of 1.25 meter. Furthermore, it was given in the question that we should provide an additional length of 25% for the inlet and outlet zones. The total length is thus 12 meters times 1.25, which gives us a length of 50 meters. Let's summarize the calculations. The number of channels is 4. The length is 50 meters. The width is 1 meter. And the depth is 1.25 meter.